private group.
Be careful. Yep. That's not clear. It's not a clear water. We cannot find you.
So, welcome on board, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to make a cruise through the canals of Amsterdam. My name is David. We have a toilet in the back. I will put on the audio guide. We'll start in a few seconds. In the beginning, there are not so many stories. And we'll point out the places of interest. If you have questions, feel free to ask.
During this cruise, our captain will guide you safely through the beautiful canals. You will learn everything about the city and its history. For example, did you know that Amsterdam has more canals than Venice and more bridges than Paris? But first, before we start, some practical information. The safety of our guests is extremely important. Therefore, do not stand on the benches during the tour, because the Amsterdam bridges are lower than you think. Furthermore, always keep the aisle clear, and, for your own safety, keep your hands inside. The boat has several emergency exits. They are located at the front and back of the boat. In case of emergency, always follow the instructions of the captain. There is a lifesaver device on board for all passengers to stay afloat. The toilet is in the back. Smoking is not allowed inside. If you're feeling hot during the tour, feel free to open your window. So now it's time to discover Amsterdam. Sit back and enjoy all the beauty this city has to offer. We wish you a great cruise.
Guys, we've been so lucky with the weather. Yeah.
So the big building on the left, that's our most important museum, our national gallery, the Rijksmuseum. So the most famous painter, what we have, Rembrandt, is hanging here with his most famous paintings, also the night watch. Behind this building you got Museum Square with the Museum of Modern Art, Van Gogh Museum, etc. Kijk, start.
The what?
No, die audio guide. We are now in the single canal, single gracht in Dutch. This is the most outer canal of the canal system. Everything on your right was old Amsterdam, and on the left were only green fields in the old days. This was also a defense canal in the city border. In a few minutes we will go to the right, and then we will enter the old part in the old canal system.
Bless you.
Thank you. I guess I got everybody's attention.
And the Faraday part is ook aan de bergen.
Herman Brood, hier de stand van de Heide.
Make that better is if you had a little dog.
Herman Brood.
He came straight from Indonesia. He came straight from Indonesia.
Three days, some days to go. Where days to go?
Yeah,
For Den Haag.
yeah, this is our third week now. We cruise for 2 weeks. And then we stayed here for 8 days. This is the 8th day. In this area, waiting for the winter.
We've already done the canal tour. We did this Wednesday up and the last fish we just went, we'd already been there. I didn't know we were going to be going on that. I wasn't paying attention. And I didn't know when I booked our excursion that we were going to be seeing the same things. So we're seeing everything again. But it's okay. That's the hard rock cafe.
I think some are US, some are from Canada and other places.
I don't know where
That was a hard rock cafe right back there. We missed that the other day.
we got a guide with music on the background. Guide
Where we were, like we were in a
Stop right now.
And where else did we go? Rotterdam? And everything was closing early. And in the one town it was 5 o'clock for everything. For the stores,
When you think of Amsterdam, you think of the historic canal belt. The world-famous water network surrounded by the single gracht, the canal we're now sailing through. Today, we enjoy the pleasure of sailing, cycling, or walking here. But how did this world-famous water network come about? For that, we must go back to the 17th century to a period known as the Golden Age. At that time, Amsterdam was prosperous, particularly due to the establishment of the Dutch East India Company, better known as the VOC. The VOC had a monopoly on trade with Asia and thus earned great sums of money. Consequently, in a short time, Amsterdam developed into one of the richest cities in the world. That fact attracted people from all over Europe and elsewhere. The old city became overcrowded. Additional housing became urgently needed to accommodate the population explosion. City carpenter Hendrik Jacobson Staats came up with a master plan. The Canal Belt. It would be a water network of 3 main canals that run in a semicircle around the medieval city center, connected by a lot of transverse canals. Think you might know the names of these 3 main canals? Correct. They are the Herrengracht, Keizersgracht, and Prinsengracht. In 1613, workers started the first phase of the project, the construction of the 3 main canals up to the Leidsegracht. The Leidsegracht then forms the southern boundary of the city. The second phase of the project followed in 1656. The 3 main canals were extended from the Leidsegracht to the river Amstel. The mega project lasted a total of 50 years. Upon completion, Amsterdam was no less than 4 times as large. 400 years later, for all people all over the world, the historic main canals still hold an irresistible attraction. The 17th century canals, lined with warehouses and city palaces, are amazing, well preserved, and are on the UNESCO World Heritage List.
But everything's flat still, but you got windows below, like below your legs and stuff. But it's different.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, we're locked in these little.
Yeah. And the other town that we wanted to go to too. The Hague, yeah. Two right now.
Yeah, that I want to go to all. Yeah, Amsterdam has so much to see. It's hard to do it in one day.
As you can see, in Amsterdam, there are a lot of extremely narrow houses along the canals. Sometimes so narrow that the house number encroaches on the next door. But appearances can be deceiving. As soon as you step inside, the houses become wider and wider. This is not a construction error, but a clever form of tax evasion. In the 17th century, Amsterdammers had to pay sky-high taxes based on the width of their house's facade on the canal. To keep their taxes down, they built the facade of their house as narrow as possible, but they let the house widen out at the back.
Guys, a lot of the houses actually have the date of construction. You can see them right here.
Still holding up all together.
You know how when I went to San Francisco, The house is like what you
That's
have.
what I was expecting.
Yeah, that's totally
Yeah, that's what I was expecting
But
more
that
like
one is
that.
different.
Yeah, they remodeled it, I guess. I thought it was going to be more like that too.
There's no alley. That's where
Yeah, I was disappointed in it. It looked too modern.
I saw many times.
And then there's a so like the steel bubbles
Algo que a veces me interesante. Se está por
Areas are man-made.
yeah, here.
So in the UK. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, you can see that.
And
So there's a different area how they're making
and then there's some names of the I think the names of some of the islands too, aren't they? Like from areas around the world, aren't they?
like, for example, whatever is the famous this country, there's a famous place. They're gonna make the same country, so whatever is there in the they're trying to bring it to different countries.
And do they bring the same like look of that area as well?
They're trying to do this.
So did you visit there? Have you lived there? Oh, you live there. Oh, okay.
I work in this.
Okay.
So like one, you can see the area.
Is it pretty? Like, does it look authentic looking, or does it look very touristy, or does it? Yeah.
So when you go there, oh my gosh, let's go there. It's like for example, it's the Irish village. That is not quite common. When you go inside, it's all bars, and they're making it.
You really like it there.
I like to live there. Safer. For I, it's cheaper.
You said luxury license. Or what did you say? Oh, I
Sixteen 1665 that was
Oh yeah, that one right there. Oh, that's a nice cruise. Did you see the big table in the middle?
Start raining.
We call them, what did you call them? Pedal? Okay. Yeah, call them paddle.
Maybe, okay, well, it might be that. On the land, it might be better. But it was some kind of a really mechanical one that was out of hand that, so I don't know. Anyway, same idea.
Like the rest of Amsterdam, these tall white canal houses were built in the 17th century by the richest inhabitants of the city. There's a reason that this part of the Heron Gracht is called the Gracht, the Golden Bend. When Amsterdam's prosperity was at its peak in the 17th century, this part of the Herengracht, or Gentleman's Canal, was especially reserved for the wealthiest Amsterdammers. It is the only place where you can buy duplicate lots and thus build wider houses. The lots were sold in no time, and sungai was full of the most luxurious of city palaces. The gigantic mansions were equipped with classical facades, landings, marble corridors, high ceilings, and beautifully painted wallpaper. They also had beautifully landscaped gardens, complete with fountains, ponds, and statues. They are beautiful green oases in the middle of the city. The super rich eventually left the Golden Bend. Today, the stately buildings are mostly occupied by companies.
They don't have gardens. They do, but they don't know. Yeah,
It's
they
potato for decoration.
Yeah. Most of them
When in Amsterdam, you know, like yeah.
There's live all the time.
Everything's available.
These guys all dressed.
Yeah, there you go. Looks like a bachelor party. Yeah. Have you saw a few on the streets? I think it was a procession already or something.
Yes.
They're like the delivery the box thing style, different
Oh
things.
my god, they were gonna wearing these costumes. I don't know. When I saw them, they were wearing
The guys were wearing
guy.
City to do it, right? Look more modern. Like some of the bricks and stuff. It looks like
502 Herengracht is the official residence of the Mayor of Amsterdam. The official residence, also known as the House with the Columns, a reference to the two columns that support the small balcony above the front door. The house was built in 1672 for the wealthy merchant Paulus Godal. Since 1927, it has served as the official residence of the Amsterdam mayor.
Faraday wil ook doortrekken naar de Amstel. Ja, naar de Faraday.
Grab your camera, because we are now sailing past one of the most photogenic places in Amsterdam, the Seven Arch Bridges. The Menyusuri is the only place in Amsterdam where so many arched bridges can be seen one after the other.
Okay, get ready because it's this one here, and you're going to see 7 bridges, one after the other.
fast this the other day, but I didn't see
Yeah, that's right.
Except myself.
Where can one find one of the most expensive hotels in the Netherlands? Of course, it's located right here on the prestigious Herengracht. The Waldorf Astoria is located in no fewer than 6 monumental canal houses.
That is why they built dikes in the 13th century and a dam on the Amstel River. This dam creates a market square that still forms the historic heart of the city. And what name did they give this square? That's right, Dam. The most famous square in Amsterdam. Amsterdam owes its name to the dam on the Amstel River.
It opens so that just like this one, it opens.
We will pass under the Blauwbrug Historic Bridge. The name Blauwbrug comes from a blue wooden drawbridge that was here. In 1883, the wooden bridge was replaced by a new one made of stone. In that year, the World Exhibition took place in Amsterdam, and the municipality wanted to show off a new bridge. It had to be larger and much more impressive. City architect Bastien de Greve came up with a design in the style of the Pont Neuf Bridge in Paris. The Blauwbrug is richly decorated with ornaments and striking lanterns.
Remember when we were driving, we passed behind the Opera House.
The large white building we now sail past is one of the most controversial buildings in Amsterdam. The architect Sesdam once said that he has never designed a building that sparked so many protests. We are talking about the De Stopra building complex. Here you will find the City Hall of Amsterdam and the theater of the Dutch National Opera and Ballet. Before the Stopra construction was started, it was discussed for years. When the municipality finally started the construction in 1982, there were fierce protests. Amsterdammers thought the building was too big and too expensive. They, in fact, preferred to have the Palais on Dam Square revert to being City Hall. When they finally broke ground to start construction, riots broke out. There have been no protests for a long time, but many Amsterdammers still think it is an ugly building.
From vintage bullion and paintings to gramophone records or old furniture, if you can think of it, you will find it here on the Waterlooplein. The Waterlooplein, or Waterloo Plaza, used to be the center of Jewish life in Amsterdam. Many Jewish families lived around the square. From 1885, this was the spot where 6 days a week, Jewish traders sold their goods in a popular marketplace. This is the home of the oldest flea market in Amsterdam. If you look carefully here, you will discover the most beautiful treasures. But then World War II broke out. Tensions in the Jewish neighborhood ran high, and from 1941, many Jewish residents were deported to concentration camps. After the war, the streets around Waterlooplein were deserted. The empty houses were looted. The Waterlooplein market is slowly getting going again, but the Jewish character of the market has disappeared. A stone's throw from the square, on the corner of the Amstel and the Swansenbroek Wall, is a monument commemorating the resistance of the Jewish citizens. We now sail past the first Protestant church in Amsterdam, the Zuiderkerk. The impressive southern church, built in the Dutch Renaissance style, was designed in the early 17th century by the famous Amsterdam architect Hendrik de Keyser. You may also recall his name as the architect of the Westerkerk, Nieuwekerk, and the Pinggiran. When the architect died in 1621, he was buried here in the Zuiderkerk.
It's almost 400 years ago.
Ja, en daarna nou over naar de winkel.
Yeah, it's in the middle.
Pretty nice. You want to sit and see people all day.
You don't have like tornadoes or
Not
to go out the driver's side.
Balik dari ini malah diputar balik. Dikit banyak kan masih
Just a little small enough.
No, that would be really, I wouldn't want to go on that.
That's pretty nasty.
No, I'm not touching that.
They have life jackets or whatever.
Yeah.
There aren't very many though. Stands out in the middle of the
Yeah. The rest of the rooms.
Temporary traveling lights, that might be good.
Probably the point when he was trying to say plants and whatnot.
Yeah, one of those tours, where can you do it?
Like some parts of Holland, obviously it was not built. Yeah.
16th century, Amsterdam was regularly under siege. To protect the east side of the harbor against attacks, the round tower that we now sail past, the Mantelbahntoren, was built around 1516. The tower was a lookout for city guards who could signal from the top when the enemy approached. In the early 1600s, and as a consequence of the expansion of the city, the Mantelbahntoren lost its function as a defensive structure, as the tower was located within the city limits. After that, the historic building served, among other things, as a police post and a city water office.
You had to walk a lot of stairs up there.
Yeah.
That's a lot of steps.
Yeah.
You had to way up to the top.
And then get up at the top.
Did you see guys like on quarters of the
Eastern Duck Island, an island between the Oosterhoek and the Bay, a stone's throw from Amsterdam City Station. This island used to be dangerous to space and a In that year, it was decided to destroy the bay by a truck. As a result, the Oosterhoek Island lost its function. It deteriorated into a desolate corner of the city, thought of as a virtual blind spot next to Amsterdam Central. In 2003, the Oosterhoek Island received an overhaul. Highlights of the renovation included the Amsterdam Conservatorium Music and the Central Library. You should also plan to visit that big Chinese building you see floating in the water, a restaurant called
The floating restaurant. The floating Chinese restaurant.
luxury apartments.
When we walk past
You can also walk along the water
floating restaurant.
Can you keep me
Jenny, in short, the Oosterhoek Island has come back to life.
Or here. This is in the entrance, but there's no place to go off. So, or here.
You are in the front, the pier that is just in front of the Sungai.
There's no place to go off.
Oh yeah.
There's no place to go off in front of the city. So for the company, not of us.
So where can you drop me off?
Over here or in front of Central Station.
In front of the
Okay.
Station Amsterdam. Nice. You know, it's here.
Before we can stop there, but now they're always a lot of clothes.
In New York, we have like called the floating island. They are extremely small islands. Called little islands. Chelsea Market.
We're fixing the dock.
No, it's right across the If you go to Chelsea Market, you can see it. It's right across. You can walk on it, it's free.
Oh, okay. And it's just like a starter.
Yes.
It's all that boat. I remember that boat the other day. The dock.
So on your left, that big building, 3 towers, is the St. Nicholas Church. The church is built in Russian Orthodox style, and it's behind there is the red light district. It's also the main eco park, so the oldest part of Amsterdam on your left hand behind St. Nicholas Church.
Was it like one street or how big was it?
A couple of alleys actually. Yeah, not like on the front facing street, they're in the alley. Nothing too big or anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are nearing the end of this tour of the canals. We hope that you have gotten a better impression of the beautiful voids. If you are satisfied about the captain and you wish to show your satisfaction, the captain has a wooden shoe on his dashboard at the exits. Thank you in advance. We wish you a pleasant stay here in Amsterdam and we hope to see you again. Mesdames et messieurs, nous sommes
That's central.